Hey.
Welcome to the Sawyer Viola Show.
Thank you. Thank you. About time. Sorry about that. I had a little bit of technical trouble here at first.
No problem.
How are you today?
Doing great, Holmes. So, where do you get started?
I'm ready.
So, what is your name, and what is your name, and could you tell the viewers a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name is Kathy Zane. I am a 43-year resident of Oregon, but transplant from Ohio originally. And I live in Southwest Portland. I have my background, my work background professionally was 30 plus years in the field of early childhood education, working for Head Start programs in a variety of different roles. And so my work now is kind of my, I call it my encore work life that I enjoy very much.
That's awesome. So what's it like being a provider?
Well, it's kind of an ever-changing thing because I keep learning and expanding my my work education around what being a provider really means. And it's really such an individualized thing. It means different things depending on who I'm working with. It's really similar to work that I did all my life in the field of education, in that it's very relationship based. It's all about developing a personal relationship and a supportive relationship, and then also determining together with the person I'm a provider to, what it is that I can do to be of greatest help, and how to be supportive. So it's really following and individualizing as I go.
That's awesome.
Thank you. I still think of myself as being really new to all this. This is really, I think it's my third, maybe fourth year. Time just flies when you're having fun. And, but it still feels really new from the standpoint of learning in an entirely different field of expertise. There's so many wonderful people who've been mentors to me and continue to be mentors to me, like Nikki and Mark and Dina and others that you know. And I just find that it is a fascinating thing, because as someone who loves working really one-on-one with people, that's my favorite way to work. Although I enjoy groups and I like being a part of a team, I like that one-on-one thing, especially the rapport that is there. And so, yeah.
Did you I guess your adult job, as a follow-up question, did your adult job help you get prepared, or help you get prepared to be a provider?
Great question. Oh, absolutely. There are so many parallels for me that I have experienced. One is that working in the field of early childhood education, there's such an emphasis on developmental learning, how we learn and grow throughout our lifetime. And no one is no one escapes that kind of thing. We all are continuously learning, but there's a great connection there in that. As an early childhood provider, I worked with individual children, but I also worked with their families, just like I do as a provider. I also, in early childhood, children are come into a classroom or come to home visits like we used to do with a lot of eagerness to learn, and they all have unique personalities and unique ways of learning. And so the parallel that I see especially is when I'm working in the DD community, I'll just call it that for the moment. I know that there's just a lot of individualizing. And when I worked in in early childhood, for example, we would support children who had learning challenges, children who learned differently than others, children who were identified, as we used to call it, as having special needs, meaning that they may have special need special accommodations for a disability they have. They may have, they just have their unique way of being in the world. And so, yes, so similar, so similar.
So in the IDD community, how do you want to see it in the obviously this industry as a whole, not just this industry as a whole, I guess? How would you like it to see it move forward and become stronger?
Well, I can just say in the 4 years that I've been involved, I've seen our thinking as a culture, a society, about the diversity of human beings and how we come into the world, how we engage with the world. We're learning more and more about brains and bodies and personalities and our social structures, continuously learning from the contribution of science to our field, which is critically important. And I think that one of the things that I have loved that pops up for me is how the language changes a bit. We're looking at neurodiversity. I like the idea of neurodiversity, or because we are all somewhere in that great spectrum of how we come into the world and present, how we engage with the world. And so I see much more acceptance of diversity, and I'm hoping that's where we can go more and more. Less stigma, more acceptance, more learning about how to support people in their individual, with their individual needs.
Yeah, so what is the most rewarding part of obviously your job as a as a provider?
I just feel like it's a privilege to get to work in a way that brings me in so closely to people, and that people invite me into their lives, and that I have the privilege of being someone who can listen and laugh and cry sometimes, and just share about the day-to-day experiences and struggles and needs that we all have. I just really see it as, I'm a part of a very beautiful community, and I love the part of working, individually, one-on-one, getting to know each person very, closely, and that just feels like a privilege to me.
How does this job compare, I guess, back then and now? Like, have you learned anything from then and now, I guess?
You mean from when I first began? Oh my gosh.
Uh,
Oh, I was like deer in the headlights when I first started because uh, I was invited on and given some initial training, and then of course have participated in training in the field since then. But I really didn't know what to expect. I didn't know if I would like to do the work. I didn't know if I'd be accepted, um, if I would be skillful enough to do it. I had a lot of insecurity at first about it, but my approach was to do a lot of listening, to do a lot of asking questions. How can I help? Tell me, tell me more. Um, and I just really absorbed a lot in that first year. And the people that I was a provider to were great teachers for me. I see all of the folks I work with as my teachers.
so, I guess to piggyback off that, when you said, you see a lot of your clients as teachers, so as I guess a question, so basically you just, I guess, learn how to support them by sitting back and I guess just taking knowledge
Mhm.
and then you sort of like build it around, I guess.
Well, again, it's a lot like what I learned and when I was being educated and trained as an early childhood provider, as a teacher, preschool teacher for years. Critically important is the aspect of observation, of a non-judgmental observation where I just watch, listen, ask questions, gain understanding. That's so critically important. And then from there, developing one's trust about how to move forward and how to suggest things to do and ways to approach things. And it's hit and miss sometimes. There's a lot of, I've made some real mistakes along the way. Occasionally I feel like but I think largely I follow my gut, follow, which is right in there with my heart. And so, yeah, I have, I'm just in the, I'm on the learning curve still today, but I love the learning. That I'm a learner and I like that.
So what type of skills do you think a good provider has to have in this industry?
Oh, well, I have met, probably 20 providers so far along the way, each one really different, each one bringing, I think, unique gifts to what they do. But I think some of the essential skills is, a certain level of receptivity, listening. I think what I also sense is that deep respect is something that providers need to have. And for the most part, that's what I've observed is a real common thread, is a sense of equality and respect between us as people. And I think that's really important.
So what advice would you give to piggyback off it? What advice would you give for someone who's watching this channel who might think of becoming and joining this industry and becoming either a PA or a provider or work out in any fashion?
Well, hopefully, if someone hears this and finds that they're hearing something about themselves in it. You know, if they pick up on some of the things that I've said, that I've learned, and that I think are most important to care about. I think that, you know, what brings people into this kind of work is probably really different. I would imagine a lot of different backgrounds, people who have family members in the community, perhaps. Parents, I know some providers who are parents of adults with disabilities. And so there are a variety of avenues for coming in. But I think that my advice would be to start out by giving yourself the benefit of the doubt that this is work that you can do, as long as you have a willingness to partner with the people you're working with and to co-learn together.
So, do you think you'd want to do this job for the rest of your life?
Well, I'm kind of, like I said, this is sort of the encore aspect of my life as an older adult. I think to some degree, I know that what I will do in my life will always be related to some kind of helping, some kind of being supportive in whether it's this community or another community. I can't say whether I'll do it all my life, but I can say that I've been richly rewarded for the last 3 or 4 years that I have been doing it.
So I guess you touched on it. You did both, obviously one-on-one and groups. Is it different or is it easy? Is it easy or one? I guess is it harder to do groups, or is it this or is it harder to do groups than one-on-one, or is one-on-one? Which one do you prefer, I guess?
Yeah, I like them both. I only do one group and it's a small group. I do feel like that is, of course, I have the best people in that group, as you know, Sawyer. But I would say that I don't fancy doing a big group because, like I said, what I really love about the work is the closeness, the one-on-one, really getting to know and rapport back and forth. But in a small group, that's possible. I love the other thing I would say too is that having a playful attitude, having a willingness to be open to play and to banter and to spontaneity is really important. And so that seems to happen a little bit more in the small group kind of thing. And so I like that aspect of it. But so I really wouldn't say that I like one more than the other. But I don't think I'd like to do a big group. I will say that.
So is it, I guess, so also the relationships you built with other providers in this industry, obviously helping out with them too. Is it fun seeing, like, for example, like Monday, seeing everybody at the bowling alley? Like, it's like is that like I guess not. I don't answer this question. I don't know how to answer the question, but is it great? I guess to, like, sometimes, like, okay, I go off do my own thing in one-on-one, but then sometimes I get to see everybody, and I guess yeah.
Well, I think where you're going is asking about then if I really like a smaller group, what's it like when I go to a bigger group and everyone's coming together, lots of people coming together in the community and getting to be around other providers too, who are with their people. I actually have enjoyed that a lot because again, to that experience, I bring that interest in observation. I like to observe the interactions between other providers and the people that they work with. I've actually picked up some good ideas and had some good conversations. I've enjoyed meeting some of the other folks who work with other providers. And I really see what a sense of community everybody has, and a real interest and delight people have in seeing each other and getting together and socializing.
Yeah, we kind of have our own mini community. It's kind of awesome in a way that everybody's like super awesome to see each other, and like friendships get made super quickly. I guess do you have any questions for me?
Oh, I'd kind of like to ask you all a lot of questions about, do you have a preference for working one-on-one or working in groups? Or do you like them both? What's your feeling about that?
So in the past, I know I've been a little routine stubborn. So in the past, I have been very not group, sorry, very one-on-one oriented. But now during the pandemic, when providers to get paid had to schedule groups.
Mhm.
I think that groups for me now are becoming more easier, just because when you like the Monday group, like when you find the right group,
Mhm.
like you can start to open up and you start to realize that like it's better because it helps me with my social skills, helps me open up. So I'd say I was one-on-one, I still am one-on-one, but groups do, but groups now I feel are getting much better with being more social as a group. So
Okay. Yeah, that's great to hear.
and another question I guess would be, do you think that because obviously during the pandemic, it's like some providers like had to go back to school, had to stop working because they were forced to put food on the table, obviously, when it comes to paying. So do you think that the state should really or whoever should really can start paying providers should be able to make a decent wage?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's another aspect in common with the field of education. And my background with as an early childhood educator is many helping professions are underpaid. And it's kind of just a mystery to me how we miss that as a society, as we place monetary value more on the marketplace than we do education and helping professions. When we rely on them so much, it's so critically important. So would I like to see this particular profession better paid and paid for the value of the work that providers do? Absolutely, absolutely. I'm hopeful. I'm continuously hopeful that we'll have more and more enlightened funders and legislators who come to recognize and shift that orientation. But yeah, I think it's important. We have this expectation that our communities, the DD community, will be cared for and by really skilled people, and yet it's really tough to make a living at it. And so people do, but I think many people are doing it out of the kindness of their hearts and because they love the work, and they've decided that they're willing to make that to exchange the love of their work for the pay, for really good pay. So, but who knows? It could get better.
It could, yeah, it could, and it could very easily. So you have any more questions for me?
Well, I'd just love to know about how you're feeling, like this great project, this channel, Sawyer Viola channel, is going for you. Is it Is it being the way you sort of thought it would be? Is it really different? How is it so far doing these interviews for you?
I'm not gonna lie. So the process of it is more challenging. Starting a YouTube channel is more of a 24/7 job than I actually thought it was actually going
Oh,
to be easy.
oh, okay.
But the interviews are going great because I got to meet with providers and people in this industry and got to sit down and just talk and see what, and that's kind of been my thing is okay, see what people in this industry need from providers, see what everybody needs, everybody wants, and then I'll hopefully in the future try to get it some laws passed to okay, take what they need, take what they want, kind of mush it together, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think you're learning as you go too. And like so many things we do when we get into really projects we're passionate about, it often is more work than they originally bargained for. But I hope you'll feel like the reward is great. And I know that others who have been watching and others who have been interviewed have felt really honored to be a part of this.
Yes, because obviously I want to help because people don't know I have skin in the game because this industry gave me a platform. So I think it's my duty to give back to the industry that helped me. People don't understand this and I have skin in the game in the sense that if this industry were to do this, I go with it. That's what people don't understand. It's not like okay, I'm just here doing this. People don't understand that like I have like it's not like okay, if it does this, I don't lose anything. I go down with the ship, and I want to make that very clear to viewers out there. Is that me and my provider that'll that's helping me do this, um, that's helping me doing editing and everything. We need your support to this industry to help move this industry forward. We can't afford to have it take. We need all your help out there. So
yeah, that kind of chokes me up, Sawyer, that you say that. And I hadn't thought of it that way, but you do have skin in the game, and you're right. Not everybody recognizes what you've recognized. Thank you for doing that. Hopefully others will recognize that more too, and get involved in other ways that in ways that they can, if they can. So that's great.
so I guess what's it so have you sort of gained friendship also? Obviously this is a business too, but I've gained friendships with your clients, I guess. I put out have like sort of to like gain like okay, like I love going out with I love going like working with my clients because like okay, I'm starting to gain like a mini friendship, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I would say a couple things about that. I think that if we are really truly engaged in the work, and I feel like I am, a friendship does develop, a kind of friendship. It's a friendship with boundaries because it has to have. It is, but you can't work so closely with individuals and not develop a closeness in a kind of relationship, a supportive relationship. And it's like a friendship in that I get a lot out of it. I never leave being with you or being with others without feeling like, wow, I've got a lot to think about. Oh, that was interesting what he said. Or that was a cool experience. I didn't anticipate that happening. So it just really adds a lot to my life. So in that sense, it's very much like friendship.
Have you learned anything, I guess, from what your clients say? I guess have you learned any question? But have you has it like have you learned anything taken away from what your clients have said? Sometimes.
Oh yeah. I mean, you guys y'all know so much more than I do about a lot of things. You each bring interests, skills, activities, things you're doing with other providers. It sparks ideas for me. It sparks interest in doing some research. Sometimes working with someone presents something I know nothing about that I feel that they need help with. So then that is a real cue for me to be, really turn up the learning curve and do some research, ask around, reach out to my coworkers and to my community. So I learned a lot along the way, not just fun facts or, the excitement of getting to hear your stories and things like that. But I learned. I feel like I'm being educated as I go along.
Cool. So I guess to follow up on that, have you learned anything from medical providers as well, I guess?
Have I learned what? Say that again.
Sorry, have you learned other things from medical providers as
Oh, from
well?
other providers. Oh my gosh, yes. Just most recently, we've developed kind of a support community. We're calling it the Hive, and a group of providers are meeting via Zoom right now anyway. And we have topics of discussion. We pose questions. We ask each other's opinions and experiences. And that's been a great thing to have. I think in every profession, in every workplace, it's really important to have coworkers or mentors that you can go to when you need a new idea or when you're confronted with a problem. We're not expected to figure it all out on our own. So it has really been great. And certainly a lot of providers initially, especially educated me on all the kinds of things that the community does together and places to go, resources. I couldn't be doing this work without what I've learned from other providers.
Cool. That's about it from my side. Do you have anything else you'd like to say?
Well, I just, like I said, I feel honored to be asked to be a part of this interview and your channel, and this, you're a passionate guy with great ideas and real commitment to supporting your community, the providers, all of us who work together, and to expanding people's consciousness and their sense of, what is this work that people do in this field. You've really broken new ground, Sawyer. It's so cool. So thank you for asking me to be part of it, really.
No problem. Thank you for your time, and for everybody out there who's watching this video, please like and subscribe. We